What is going on, guys? This is Joss here, and today I am here after the FA Cup round of 32 and the round of 16 has been drawn. Sydney FC got Bentley. I'm excited for that matchup. New stadium, new team. Haven't seen us play them before, and as long as it's not on the Saturday that it could potentially be on, then I should be good to go to that match, which is exciting. But I'm not here to preview that game. What I'm here to do is talk about the round of 32 in the Australia Cup as a whole, because I feel like I was able to learn a lot from the round of 32. Not only like it was very exciting and all of that, but I think we got a good glimpse into what Australian football is going to look like over the next 12 months just from the first round alone. And I wanted to present to you guys the 5 things I feel like I've learned from the round of 32, and I don't really need to dilly-dally on anymore. It's a simple concept, and I'm going to get into the things that I think I learned. And I'll start with a controversial one because, I'm talking about the 3 teams that won trophies in Australia last season. And I'm going to say, number one thing we learnt from the Australia Cup is that Melbourne suck, just in general. Every Melbourne team in the A-League is crap. And that is a massive overstatement that's meant to be like, oh, look, rile you up. It might not be true, but my thought is that last season the league was obviously in a really terrible place quality-wise. And congratulations to the teams, Victory, City, and Western, who went out, capitalized on the low quality in the league, and won trophies. Like, I would not have... I don't hold anything against any fan for celebrating a trophy, because it's an awesome thing, and you get the experience of, following your team throughout. Like, all of that stuff is obvious, but my takeaway from the season is that they weren't that good. I feel like every team had massive holes in their in their season where they sucked for periods of time. They let themselves down, and they didn't look like complete teams, which, previous A-League winners, I'll be positive, Melbourne City, the season before the last, they looked a complete team for most of the season. So yeah, I think they were a bit shit last season, and based off the first games of the FA Cup this season, I don't think it's a good sign. And I'm thinking they're going to suck anyway, but I'm just taking away from the FA Cup that, Melbourne City really struggled to beat a Northern New South Wales NPL side in Newcastle Olympic. And I'm aware that the first game thing is an argument, so I'm not going to keep addressing it, but they struggle to break Newcastle Olympic down, and that's something we see in football time and time again, is teams that are good just stagnate and start to be able to, start not being able to break down tight-knit defenses, and they make defensive mistakes, and slowly they just drop in quality because they're dropping points, they drop their heads, and it's just a vicious cycle of falling down. Now, I don't think that's going to happen to Melbourne City. I think they will be finals quality for sure next season, but I don't know if they've improved enough or are even good enough in the first place based off last season to challenge for trophies if other teams improve significantly this season. So we'll obviously have to see how that pans out, but I guess my takeaway being less, Melbourne suck, is that it wasn't a good start for the Melbourne teams. And that brings me to the Victory versus Western United game, which was very low quality. There was obviously the Brimmer Worldie, but other than that, I feel like both the teams looked a bit shit, and it was just a really turgid game to watch where you could just tell that both teams weren't that good. Now, again, I said I was going to stop mentioning it, but I'm aware it's the first game of the season, but it's not a good start. Victory have lost the chance to play competitive football for the next 2 months, and Western United are on thin ice. They could potentially get knocked out by Sydney United, I think, but obviously we'll have to wait and see. I just think it's a poor start for the Melbourne teams, who I think weren't actually that good last year. So that's my number one takeaway from the round of 32, and this is going to make me sound like a biased cunt, and I probably am because that's football. I'm a football fan, and I might be that way, subconsciously. But, I'll admit this does sound a bit biased. I'm not trying to be biased deliberately, but of course there is bias here. Like, it is bias. There will be bias. Take it with a pinch of salt, you cunts, and shut up. But the second takeaway from the round of 32 is that Sydney FC have a plan, which I'm very thankful for, because over the course of the off-season, I was pretty chill. Other Sydney fans were less chill, but there was always the, demand for new signings, because Sydney fans wanted to see change, because if there wasn't, then we're going to be fucking terrible, because we sucked last year and we didn't see signings before the opening round of the Cup. So it was kind of a mystery box as to what Sydney FC were going to be. And I feel from the first game in the Cup against Central Coast, we saw some changes that were positive compared to last season. And I'm not saying that we have immediately changed into a title-winning side, but there's definitely base level changes from the staff and players that have remained at the club to make the team better. We looked better in attack, and we played a new formation, which I think enhanced our ability defensively. We could cover off counterattacks better, and we could also press better, which is good. It's a good change, because we were getting kind of stale. We were getting found out. I mean, we just had been found out. We were found out for most of last season. So to see the team play in a very different way to what they have done in previous seasons is quite pleasing to me, and I'm sure a lot of other Sydney FC fans, and puts our minds at ease a bit, because despite not making any new signings yet, there is the ground level changes there for us to get back to where we belong this upcoming season. So that was my second takeaway from the Cup. The third one is not specifically team related, but it is football as a whole related, and that is that COVID is over for football. And I really hope I haven't just jinxed everything, but it was actually, like, for me, I feel like a momentous occasion, because I only decided the pandemic was over 3 months ago or 2 months ago. And I mean, as dumb as that is, because obviously there's still a virus raging around our society, killing people daily, but I can't be arsed with it anymore. I feel like the COVID years, a lot of the time, were some of the worst times of my life. And football, I hope, I need it to be back properly. And I feel like after this round of the Cup, it really felt like it was back, because every game was played in the window that the games were scheduled to be played in. No noticeable players, no notable players were missing with COVID. There were no behind closed doors games, no capacity restrictions as far as I know, or ridiculous stadium rules targeting football fans for no reason. And it felt really like pure pre-COVID football, and I'm excited about that for the season as a whole, because it was like 2019, late 2019, when I was over in England. That was when I decided, like, I want to go to every Sydney FC game ever for the rest of time. And then obviously COVID fucked that up, but now, please God, please, it seems to be over. And I also hope that spells an end to the COVID amnesty period that clubs and the league and TV companies and stadiums have had over these last few years, because I'm getting sick of it. A lot of it just comes across as lazy, and I'm sick of the excuse that COVID. Like, I don't feel that enough has been done in Australian football to operate with COVID. Obviously, like, it's harder work than I could ever do to actually get the league up and running successfully during COVID, but I still feel like there should have been more done over the course of the pandemic and all the lockdowns and shit to keep football alive and thriving in this country. So that's my third takeaway from this round, is that COVID is over for football, and for me, I guess, because I am football. But with that comes the end of the COVID amnesty period, and now it's time for Australian football to really fucking kick itself up the arse and, start doing better. So that was my third takeaway from this round of the Cup. My fourth one goes back to the football side of things, and that Charlie Austin is a good marquee and a bit of a fatty. But Charlie Austin played his first game for Brisbane, I believe, against Heidelberg. I can't even remember who they played now. But he played 72 minutes in that match and picked up 2 assists while looking really good. Like, when he had the ball at his feet, he made the rest of the field look like it was playing in slow motion, and that's a really good way to start your career in the A-League in Australia, is by looking significantly better than everyone else that you're playing with, because that's what you expect from someone who's literally been paid, tens of thousands of dollars a week to play football, probably even closer to like hundreds of thousands of dollars a week to play football. You expect them to look good, and he absolutely did that. And I think that if he can get up to match fitness, because he did look a little bit either unfit or just like lacking match fitness, one of those two. Like either he was a bit of a fatty, as I said, or he's unfit. And either way, he's going to be entertaining to watch. I'm going to go out of my way to watch Charlie Austin. But yeah, that was my only negative, I guess, from him. Otherwise, as I said, yeah, he made everyone else look like they were playing in slow motion. I was surprised that he was mainly a creative outlet for Brisbane. Like he came as a striker that, has traditionally been like a number 9 that scores goals around the 6-yard box. And I still expect him to do that this season, but it's not just the 2 assists, it's the delicate touches and moving the ball quickly that was, first of all, exciting, but second of all, very effective. And I can't wait to see how it works against an A-League opposition, because it was a good start. And I feel like if he can kick on and do that in the A-League, then even if Brisbane aren't that good of a side, they're going to be a threat because of Charlie Austin. And honestly, I'm loving Charlie Austin's time in the A-League so far. He's very active on social media, which should get people involved in the A-League. And, I mean, in the one game he's played, he's been a standout player for Brisbane Roar. He's stood out compared to every A-League player that he shared a field with so far. So I'm excited to see how that goes. But that's the fourth thing I feel like we learned from the round of 32, is that Charlie Austin is good. And the final thing that we learned from the round of 32 is that, my God, it would suck to not be in the Cup. Like, I dread the day that Sydney don't make the Australia Cup, because it would be horrible to be sitting at home watching this fucking beautiful football culture unfold in front of you and not getting to participate. Obviously a lot of NPL clubs get that, but I'm saying this because I believe it, but also because fuck you, Western Sydney scum, ole. But yeah, I was just really reminded or amazed, probably a bit of both, at how good Australian football can be. I only managed to get to one game, but I've watched a lot of the other games on TV, and there's been a lot of stuff on social media about, how the games have gone, and all of it just looks so good to me. Like, I don't get how there's actually a demographic of A-League fans that are too stuck up to go watch their team in the FA Cup or make anything more than a tiny effort to go watch their team play in the Cup. And honestly, I feel like with the success of this round, it made those people look like a proper bunch of retarded cunts, because I feel like there were a lot of successes this round of the Cup, and every second I spent watching it was entirely worth it. So that's my fifth takeaway from the Cup, is that it would suck to not be in the Cup, and I think your life would be fucking miserable if you didn't love the Australia Cup or the FA Cup or the FFA Cup, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't matter. It's the format, it's the teams, it's the fans that make the Cup. And I mean, yet again, they've made a round of 32 that was awesome. So that's my fifth takeaway and my final takeaway from the round of 32. So yeah, that's the video. It's kind of been poorly ordered. I probably should have reordered that, so it's like the 3 kind of footballing related ones, then the COVID one, then the it sucks not to be in the Cup one. Or I could have done that one at the start, but either way, yeah, I was just thinking about the round of 32, and I was just trying to come up with some things that I could take away from it to, you know, make a video. Like maybe I could have done a whole video on the Charlie Austin thing, but I figured just doing my 5 takeaways quickly and hopefully getting a response from you guys or the talking point would be fun. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Let me know what you have to say in the comments below, because I'd love to hear that shit. And otherwise, I'll see you guys next time I make a video. Bye bye.